Perfect. Okay, we are all set now. And so welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness, it's August already. Welcome to the King's Council and Trust Family Office Town Hall Gathering, where we come together as a community. And this is our portal to where we get to connect, collaborate, share, and really hear from each other and get to know more about specific initiatives that we're working on, how to get involved, and really stay up to date on all that's happening. So if this is your first time here, we're really grateful that you've joined us. It looks like we have all familiar faces. So thank you for coming back and choosing to play with us every single month. As you know, we're connecting people for one purpose. And come on, here we go. We can do it. There we go. And so today's agenda is much like normal. We're just going to connect with the vision and mission. We're going to share some updates, connect with some of the team members. And we have a really powerful initiative that we're going to be focusing on today. You'll get to learn more about, also how to get involved. And one of my favorite parts at the end is we get into breakout sections. So you get a chance to meet other people from around the world, hear about their project, and learn how you can get involved with each other and play together. Because really we're coming together to build community and help each other grow and thrive. And then at the end, we always open it up for Q&A. And if for some reason, as we go along, you have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Like, don't wait until the end. I mean, we don't want people chiming in as we're going through, but put it in the chat. We'll make sure that it gets answered. And if for some reason we run out of time and you have a question, you can, we'll make sure we pull those from there and connect with you. So with that, going to be introducing, I thought this would be a little bit easier here today. Come on, here we go. Our mission and vision. So I'll go ahead and pause for a moment so you can read that. And so I'm sure you're here because you connect with all, if a part or if not all of what we're here to do today. So thank you for being aligned in this shared vision. And so with that, the vision creator and the founder and managing director of King's Council and Trust Family Office, we have a chance today to hear from Dale Hewitt-Collier. What's so exciting about what he's been working on for over a decade is really putting together that new financial system and helping all of us, whether it be as an individual, as a local community, and even as a global community, really know how to engage in that, how to play with that. And he's been tagged as the financial futurist with the foresight to enact this new global system of wealth creation in a time of crisis, reinventing private equity as a function of cash flow. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Dale. But I think I really want to give you a round of applause. Can I do that? If I can find it? Yeah.
That official?
It's official.
Okay. Larry thinks I'm a solutionist too. So we like to make up words around here. And if you're an architect, you know what I mean. Really, what we're doing is not new. It's just revisiting what works long before many of our great leaders of the world sold out to sell us down the river. And so some of what we're going to talk about today is, what we're going to do about that is not anti that thing, but for something else. And so we've been blessed in the last season since we started the Wallet Initiative. We'll touch on that briefly a little bit later when we get more specific into the latest project we're working on. That's coming out anytime. The greatest revelation I could share with you today is if any of you have a wallet, you know what that might be like to go from cash to credit back and forth with your bank. Maybe you've got a Coinbase or Binance or some other account where you can go crypto back and forth to your bank. But do you have a wallet that talks to each other? I've learned, interestingly enough, that when we first wrote the request for proposal, I thought that would have been a no-brainer, that You could actually trade one thing for another thing, for another thing, for another thing. But what we've learned is you can't actually do that. The system is so brittle right now that, candidly, they don't want everyone running to another asset form to discover or to save someone self, to bail ship, what have you, because I believe, candidly, it's that brittle. It could come down in any moment. And if you don't know what that means, suffice to say, you've got cash. Going back to the Civil War, I've shared this in the last preview for a few times in the last week. Anyone, we should be talking to anyone with cash that they don't know what to do with right now. And it simply goes like this. What are you doing with your cash? What are you doing with your retirement? Because I don't know about you, the purchasing power of that dollar doesn't seem to be buying what it used to buy. I do the grocery stuff and the milk, cheese, all of the produce through the roof. Gas recently through the roof. Back down again. But you get the idea. So if you're looking for a secure instrument in the form of a treasury or a CD, what good is it if the inflation rate is greater than the rate of return? You're still kind of going backwards. So while you're falling to the earth, albeit with a parachute at a slower speed, that's still not working. That doesn't get you ahead of the game. And so we're inviting anyone lately that you've got a project, you're curious at all, that what we've been saying over the last several months in preparation for a time as this think of it as a financial ark, to go back to Noah's times. And come one, come all. I'm not sure about the sexes these days. Just suffice it to say, Noah didn't have to solve that problem. He just had to build the boat. We built a boat. Anyone can get on in this case and co-vest with us. There's lots to do, few hands. We've been praying for the white workers to show up. And today we're going to talk about one of the more exciting initiatives where it comes together in a wallet and a syndication and institutions and assets and cash and really cool people to make that happen. So before I get into some of that, I just wanted to highlight a few of the team that are on today. We don't have everybody's kind of pictures and bios, but if I could, David Dunworth, you're in front of my screen as we speak. David, with me, does some of the co-trust, fiduciary, and other types of really neat asset planning type of things. Rui across the pond in Africa couldn't join us today, doing some really interesting things in terms of South Africa at the moment. Right hand, maybe you know him as Help Desk. This is Thomas Richter, been with us more than a decade. Larry Tyler, another one, recovering retired banker, as it were. Sorry, Shannon, to have you going all over. But I see him on there too. Otherwise known as the cash whisperer. He really gets this reinventing private equity function as a cash flow. Any business that's challenged with what's coming in versus what's going out. This is not balance sheet. This is not profit and loss. This is an altogether different type of a conversation. Larry, a wonderful mentor to me over the years, and now to you, if you so dare to opt in. And new to the team is, of course, Shannon, our host, does a wonderful job of setting the stage and really creating the environment here. All things events, planning, hundreds and hundreds of events worldwide, physically and virtually. When everything shut down, fortunately, we got together and we didn't miss a beat. We've been doing this since 2010. She obviously knows how to get on a mic, and a lot like a pastor, you can't almost pull that out of her hands. But really, in helping to love your neighbor is part of what we do and how we'd like to show up. But it's because of Shannon kind of stirring the pot a little bit. Karen Boger recently joined. You know what? I'm a partner, but I haven't thought about a project of my own. So we get to a project, and then that leads to Aaron and Cheryl that are on with us today. And who else is here? Jim Diker. They're really enjoying retirement, but I thought I saw Jim on here. Did he disappear? Oh, there you are over there. Sorry, I've got more than the Hollywood squares going on. And, another one that gets the cash flow thing. So that's another topic that we're talking here today. Because of this initiative, we use some new language. Duh. I mean, if you've been around long enough, you've heard a few words like, what did he just say? How does that work with that? One of the things we recognize is so important, if you can't get it anywhere else, is the language of casting a vision and inviting other people to participate in it with you. How do you finance that dream? So for those of us that have been around, we've heard of this group for a few decades called CEO Space. They call it fund busting. What does that mean? Well, I'm stuck. We're often asked, I can't afford it, to ourselves, I can't afford it. What do I need? There's this big gap. The better question is, how can I afford it? And who do I already know that has what I need, so on and so forth. So to talk a little bit about how to finance your dreams, this is a skill that every child should have, especially now. Especially now. If you don't do anything but learn that for your kids, that they could grow up in an environment that is so uncertain right now, I think that would be pretty exciting. Maybe we could have a project around that in teenagers or something with bright ideas. But anyway, we'll be talking about that a little bit in terms of how to take it home to your family and talk about financing your dreams. But that's about that in terms of what we're discovering today. We've got a lot of team. We've got a really wonderful project. So the door's really kind of closed in terms of this opportunity. What we're looking to do is basically syndicate a number of projects together to shift to a different jurisdiction. A different jurisdiction, by what I mean by that is, okay, you've got A and B. You got taxable over here, you got non-taxable over here. And if anyone knows the difference, you got for-profit, not-for-profit, another way of thinking about it. You've got debt equity. Did you know there's another way? One of our favorite ways of financing things called royalties. Royalties done right are neither equity or debt, but rather a contingent liability against future cash flow. To the degree that a natural resource is monetized, there's no obligation. And because you can't account for that, it's something that doesn't exist today, hence it's not on the balance sheet. It's not a liability today. Properly done, though, it should be footnoted. And so we've taken that instrument. We've worked with another institutional client. This client has basically said, hey, we like the way you're doing things here. That makes a whole lot of sense. We have this need of converting our liquid cash to something that it's at least going to help preserve the purchasing power today in form of assets or assets that could appreciate in value. And this is that conversation to have with your neighbors now. Or maybe we could go create something that would be valuable. What does that look like? Well, consumable items obviously make sense. Toilet paper, that might be a good one. Tissue paper, baby diapers. It could be consumable items that you actually eat. You need it next month too. We're going to go through some tough times. And the real question is, are you ready for what's coming? Have you prepared adequately to feed yourself, love your neighbor, as it were, feed others? Are you creating something of value that someone could, because of your relationship, have some type of exchange going on? Not necessarily barter, but you get the idea. We believe that kind of a thing is coming soon. And it's unfortunate, nevertheless, we're giving folks a choice to kind of get on board and have something to do with that. I'd like to think that we've got a catalyst type of a program that if you've got an idea today, I need to know in short order what that is. We've got a template to follow, how much you think you need, and would you be willing to put a video together that kind of explains what that's all about? Interestingly enough, that's about what it takes to get on the Shark Tank. That's this opportunity that we have in front of us right now. It's pretty exciting. Now, what if you could almost guarantee that if you did just those three things, if I could put a stake in the ground, said, this is mine. It's kind of like, go settle the West, young man. This is mine, and here's my plan, and this is how much I need. If you had a co-vestor that came around and said, you know what, I like that. I can be your silent partner. If you can preserve, the asset base for us and you could produce a little bit of cash flow, you think we could have some type of a working relationship? That's what's in front of us today. Shannon, I don't know if you have a couple of those slides ready to pull up, but the Prado Group is just that group. If you don't know who they are, the Prado Group is already working with the likes of the Hilton Family Venture Group. They have basically allowed us a concession that says if we can pull together enough interest, they'll play this way, you see. But we've got to play their way too. And their way too is simply, are we willing to put our money where our mouth is? Are we willing to do what we believe? Because if we are, the invitation is to take that potentially worthless cash and convert it to an asset-backed token and let that token be put in place. In this case, the contractual period is just over a year, in exchange for a royalty agreement to provide the liquidity to build the team, to acquire the assets, to create the value, as it were, for whatever it is that's on your heart and your dream. This is an open call to small business across America and the rest of the world. We believe that if God's called you with some idea for such a time as this, that this isn't the only solution, but this is certainly a solution that is worthwhile leaning into. How you got here today isn't as important as what are you going to do with the information that you're hearing today? Because going forward, I don't think there's any more excuse why money should be an object for you achieving what it is that God's put on your heart, regardless of the scale. So Shannon, if you wouldn't mind moving that along. What we're looking to do inside of the next month, for any that has ever played with us before, the 2-page summary, not a big deal. It's front and back type of a thing. It's a template, cut and paste. If you've already done a business plan, you've already done some of a summary yourself, and many of your so-called folks that you've been pitching to are scratching their head, we might just have a better mousetrap to tell that story. We need that by the end of August. There's still time. The fastest turnaround we've seen it is in 2 days. I know that within a couple hours, I've had a few years of practice, I can do one from scratch, but then I know what I'm looking for. But, you don't have to do this alone, you see, any more than parenting should be a solo parent job with children. You're supposed to have help. You're supposed to have team. So inside of the balance of, the next 23 weeks or so, 20 days, we're inviting you to step up, put your best idea forward, and make a little video. If you can get on a camera just like this, everybody's here mostly live. There's a few pictures. I see a big dog, but for the most part, everybody's live. You get the idea. Show your face, tell your story. Don't know how to do that? We've got some experts, starting with Shannon, Cheryl, Aaron, Karen, that have all done podcasts and produce of this show and that show and speakers. They know how to do that. We even got another volunteer for as little as less than $1,000 can help tell your story. We're talking high-end production value here. So don't let that stand in the way either. All this needs to be packaged up by the end of the month. And the big question, of course, is at the end of the month, how do I come up with that money? So Shannon, is there another slide to this? Because one of the things I'm really excited about is turn it over to you and address the money thing. But here's what we found in the last week and a half, too, since we've last met, is this idea called staking. What is it? It's not a traditional finance term. It's more of a recent phenomenon in the crypto space. Now, maybe you've heard the term stablecoin. Stablecoin is usually that thing that's pegged to something stable, such as the dollar, USDC, USDT. It's otherwise called Tether on other exchanges, crypto exchanges. There's one problem, though. they're not backed by anything. So while it's a still good idea to stabilize it to something, in the same way the money market is also pegged to the dollar, it doesn't have anything behind it. So anyone that, for example, may have been invested in Luna, for example, at one time recently it was trading north of 14. That thing's less than a penny today. And supposedly that too was stable. So I'm going to challenge anyone, if you think you've got an investment, maybe in an exchange traded fund, it's backed by silver. Is it really? Or is it just a derivative instrument? If it's not 1-for-1, 100% correlation, I'm going to challenge you, because if there's like musical chairs, the music stops playing and there's a mad dash for the money in the bank or the silver in the vault, and you think that you can just go in anytime you want and pull out your stuff, ain't going to happen. So with that, what we've decided to do with cooperation of the Prado Group is to be able to put more than $2.5 billion worth of third-party appraised assets in place, backed by one of the top three, maybe Moody's, Standard & Poor's, maybe you've heard of them. Well, this other one, Fitch, is another one of those big rating companies, to put up a token where you can take some of the fiat stuff and convert it today. And what we'd like to do then, by providing that degree of liquidity, in our case, it's up to $25 million, 3%, so just shy of $1 billion worth of potential project value. We'd like to put that on a decentralized exchange. Not the New York Stock Exchange, not the NASDAQ or the American or the FTSE or any other exchange, our own private decentralized exchange. Hopefully this is making sense so far. Anyway, in exchange for that little bit of liquidity and your hold on to, if you just went public, for example, CEOs, officers, directors, you would probably have to not sell your stock for a little bit. They call that a restricted stock. Basically, they tie it up and you have to vest it for a period of time. Or if you've ever bought your interest rate down in a mortgage, for example, a little bit more, a little bit lower interest, same idea. What we're looking for in the target market here, again, this is a small business initiative. This was what Mr. Trump had in mind when he first took office in Make America Great Again, because the small business is the engine that makes this country, the United States, little u, states of America, work. It's not the big corporations. It's every day where we live, work, and play. And it's our neighbors who have the store down the street, the shopping center, the restaurant, the what have you. When we get back to loving our neighbor, we're going to, as American Express would have it in great marketing idea, Small Business Saturday. Why don't we do more of that on a regular basis? Why does it have to just be once a year? But that's the kind of ethos that we want to bring back to this syndication, this cooperative, this intentional community, albeit leveraged and connected on a much larger scale than we've ever seen. So with that, I just want to pause and just do a quick check-in. How's all this landing so far with anyone? Have I lost anyone to date? Looks good. Nice. All right. Now, here's where it gets sexy. Are you ready? That wallet initiative that we talked about a while ago. How about you run your business on your phone? The very exchange that we're talking about is effectively having an account with your token that directly correlates to gold or silver, lawful money, 1-for-1, to treasury minted. And this is not just in the United States. This is any government minted silver dollar, well, not just dollars, because they're £2 in UK, for example. And anyhow, you get the idea. That is a coin that also includes your self-directed IRA if you so choose to save your retirement plan, because that's the only form of bullion that you can have in a qualified plan, at least the United States and Canada also. Available on your phone. what I talked about is having the challenge to go between cash to crypto to gold or silver, all on the same platform. This is your first, you're going public opportunity. That's what we're doing this year in this corner with your opportunities, your projects, your people. How's that landing? Is it too ominous? Is it too cool? Can I hear an amen from somebody? How's this sounding?
Big amen.
All right, cool. There's one problem.
Absolutely.
There's one problem. If you go there and try to do it yourself, we found that, you know, as much as due diligence is a thing, it really is. We're going to teach the test, but the big question is, where do I come up with the stake? I barely have enough to even engage King's Counsel, let alone I got to come up with $50,000 to what's that 30 to, that would be $1.5 million for my project. I need help. So let me just let this slide just sink in a minute. You know, what's needed? You do this yourself. Yes, we can help you. By the end of the week, anyone that says, hey, I want to do this, can King's Counsel help me? Absolutely, we can. You've got support on the business plan. You've got support on the financial plan. You've got support on the video plan. You've got support in the language. You've got a lot of support here. These are people that are already in King's Counsel, already volunteers. Some even contribute their own capital to be a part of this team. And we love giving back. The real question is, man, I'm stuck. Where do I start? What do I say? If you've never done that before, here to speak to, before you get to King's Counsel and an honorarium, is some of the fundraising coaches. And you didn't know this about Shannon, did you? But she's the queen. It's going to talk about some of this money here today and what to do about it. Because that, like I said, after today, no more excuse. Money should never, ever become an obstacle for you, your kids, or anyone you know again. And if they raise their hand and say, I need it, now you'll know how to help. I think that's exciting. So with that, I'll pause there and field one, maybe two questions before we shift. Anyone? That was easy.
Brother Dale, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Newbie. Welcome, David.
Hello, sir. Yes, it's perfect timing because I just got offered a couple of $2 billion the other week, and that's good to hear you guys are putting together 2.5 for projects. What is this Pareto Group's timeline of use stake to funding? You mentioned fourth quarter. Are they wait until Christmas, or are they? You know, sometimes it'd be as early as 2 to 3 days. Depends if you have all your ducks in a row. We go a little deeper on that.
Yeah, as it stands today, there's and just checking in this morning, we got about 2,000 or so opportunities to sift through between now and November. The first distribution is as early as December of this year. It doesn't mean that that's an absolute, but because of so much to go through, that's what we're looking at this moment. And that distribution is not one lump sum. As you can read here in the Gantt chart, this is a 10-month distribution over the course of the following year. So it really does reinforce the fact that this is a cash flow exercise, because if the use of funds in any one particular month exceeds that which your, that 1/10 draw is, whatever it is for that month, that could create a problem. So still got some work to do there. But be that as it may, if everybody does their part, very much like a construction draw schedule, the bank's going to be there every month of the way over 10 consecutive months. And by the end of 2023, everyone should be fully funded and well off to the races. This is ideally not something to be starting up to go build as much as it is to buy, maybe retrofit, reform, refurbish in some way, and get to doing what you're doing.
So 2 follow-ups to that. Thank you for those clarifications. What is the process to most time efficiently go through those 2,000 deals? Because I know a guy who built a whole system of screening deals, and maybe that can be of service to you.
Possibly. That's why we're going with our 2-page and our video, 4 or 5 minute explainer video. We believe, and I think it's a guy thing, that we like to look at pictures first before we like to read the articles. So I can imagine 4 or 5 minutes, watching double speed. We can burn through these things, and the ones that really pop are the ones that really have presence, the ones that really are passionate about what it is they're doing, they believe, what have you. Chances are, at least we believe, and Prado has kind of bought into this idea, that that's a good place to start. So that's what we're going with first. We also know that not everybody is producing a video. The video is not a requirement. If you went to Prado directly, there is no video requirement. This is our recommendation with everyone else that's seeking capitalization, that if they really want to set themselves apart, show up with a little show.
Mm-hmm. So second follow-up question was, you mentioned the whole construction draw. Sometimes people need 30% or 20% to get the land and then start building on it. So do they have any flexibility in the 10-month draw layout for such a expenditure as that in someone's project?
Yeah, I'd be adjusting the ask on the front end to accommodate those larger bumps.
Okay, because part of why I'm asking is, like, I'm looking at raising, say, $1 million to $5 million in the next month, and I'll use 2 of that to get an option on this mine. I have about $3.5 million of it I will be using, but of the remainder, I may stake some of it. Like, it may make sense to stake $1 million to get another 10 million, on a more slower laid out schedule. So that's why I was asking them those clarifications.
Smart. And that is, I'm really glad you're bringing that up. That is so smart, because it's been asked as a function of our frequently asked questions in this, will this program be around after next year? We're going to do this again. And the short answer is no. We don't believe that the system, the world economic system as we know it, will be in place, and that there's a really good chance we'll be on a different program altogether. So having to overcompensate for that on the front end makes a lot of sense, the way you're talking about, and then liquidate or convert those assets to move forward in the next portion if there's longer than a year's build out or acquisition.
I would think, speaking of the world financial system, I'm surprised they don't have an accelerated thing where they're going to draw it out for 10 months. I mean, some programs are really built for that kind of a situation, and other programs are built for more rapid deployment of funds. So
in this case, this is one of about a half a dozen different projects we're promoting right now, because this is the one that is most sensitive to the smaller, I'll just say, small business owner. This is 3% stake. Others are 5, 7, and custom design solutions. So for some of the bigger numbers, I know there could be alternatives. But that's not the discussion here today, but certainly worthwhile conversation we could take offline if you would like. What we need, if you could, Shannon, is the kctfo.com/contact us, is from that drop down, David, and anyone that may be listening to follow up the link in the chat here, is fill out your basic contact info, either other or submit a project. Tell us a little bit about it. What is it? Where is it in the world? Total need. And I like what I hear. I'm committing to this 3-week process to get done by the end of the month, and we'll be sure to get back in touch. What you might not have heard, David, is that we're also going to be doing something we've never done before, is those with projects in this push. We're also doing a master's mind type of a group type format. And we think that's pretty exciting too. If anyone's ever been part of a master's mind, you know how beneficial that can be when you get stuck in a particular area and you just scratching your head. Where do you go without, someone holding their hand out for an hourly fee or retainer? This is what we're going to all do together for each other over the course of the next few weeks. We're pretty excited about what happens when it comes out of that, because that's in addition to the one-on-ones that we're going to do with any project anyway. So thanks for your questions on that. Look forward to following up, David.
Yeah, thanks for the clarifications, brother.
And with that, Miss Shannon, I know there's a lot of folks that might not be I'll just say humble enough to even ask the question. I don't know how to speak cash or cash flow or fund busting or capital. Could you enlighten us a little bit here today, and at least those that are present, tee us up for our breakout sessions ahead?
Yeah, so Dale invited me to, excuse me, share just a little bit about what we've put in place for raising capital. I've been so blessed to, at one time I had an amazing vision, but I didn't have the resources to pull it together. And I knew, you know, I had the passion, I had the drive, I had the team, I had all the things, but needed to raise capital and was able to access capital, but I needed that initial, what kind of seed fund, or in this stake, it's like the staking setup. And so, you know, learned the language and the tools and what people look for to be able to give me money. So was able to raise close to $1 million in a very short period of time, and since then have helped others raise millions of dollars in the process, and lots of different means, from sponsorship to scholarship to SSC to RRSC, which Dale, you know, King's Council and Trust does. And so Dale had asked, I have this capital raising boot camp. It's been up for quite some while. We actually have a legend that participated in this. And basically this was a program where we took individuals through 5 weeks, but when it's e-learning, you know, you could actually sit down and do this in a day, in 5 weeks. And we helped them develop all of the things in what we call a 5-finger pitch in 5 minutes to really get those, you know, find out, are they interested? Are they yes? Who do they know? And construct the language that becomes magnetic, because that is really what it is. It's like, how do you get people to say yes if they're a good fit, and also going through discerning, is this somebody that you want to be able to play with? And so I love what you said, Dale. I just want to show them a slide real quick about how this is something that benefits everybody with their language. I mean, my daughter ended up doing fundraising in school, and this same thing. It's like, once you learn the language of capital, this is a skill that you can have forever. And so whether you want to do this on your own or with a coach, this is what we put together. We actually had, you know, and sorry, let me just back up here. If you're on the Prado accelerated path, we do suggest, like, this is something where you want to raise money really, really quick. You're not going to necessarily need to talk about the intellectual property. So message me, I'll tell you which ones to watch so that you get that, you know, accelerated, get it done as quick as possible, because we really did have a comprehensive, you know, this is a top intellectual property individual. Those of you that, you know, don't know dear Bernie Dorman, who passed away a couple of years ago with CEO Space. He's helped people raise billions of dollars. This is Russell Weigel, who is now the director of finance. I'm sorry, the commissioner for the Office of Financial Regulation with the state of Florida, former SEC attorney. And then myself, I really go through, like, what are those key things? We help you develop the language. And so in here, we have both the done on your own, where you can just do it yourself, or, you know, those of you that are like, okay, I need to get this done with you. So that'll include 4 sessions where we work on your pitch, we work on your, you know, your documents, we work on everything to help you get that capital ASAP. And so it can be for you, it can be for your team, however you want to do that. Dale, anything else you want to add to this? And I'll put the link in the chat.
Well, what if somebody wants you? I mean, I'm all fan of do it yourself too, but sometimes you like to talk to somebody. How does that work in your program?
Yeah, so that is also there. Let me get the link real quick. That is what we call our done with you. And so that includes document reviews, pitch reviews, and we actually get together and work on what it is that you're doing. Now, ideally, we want you to watch the videos, right? Because if you're on the accelerated path and you need to do this in like the next week or the next few days, then I'm going to suggest you watch the videos, and we use those calls to where we get you into action and we get you done. And so, yeah, there's a done with you, which I highly suggest, because, you know, for me, when I first started raising capital, I went out and interviewed 7 different people that had raised millions of dollars. And like this 5-finger pitch that we're going to give you and go through, this guy raised $10 million in a really quick time. And once I learned it, and he said we could share it, we could, reuse it, all that stuff. Once I learned it, it was like turning on the faucet. I had people writing me 6-figure checks. So that's the power of working with somebody to help you on this. Anything else, Del? Do you want me to show them the website real quick? I think I put it in there. You can also come in here to the website. We do have a capital raising checklist you can download for free. And then here's the packages. We'll also send you a hard copy of Russell's book, Capital for Keeps, that goes through various things that's included in both of those.
That's great, Shannon. I think we should have done this a long time ago. I didn't really think it was that big a deal until just recently, where folks are saying, look, I don't have the wherewithal to even get going with King's Council. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, how is that not possible? But I guess it is. So thank you. Anyone else to share?
I love raising capital. It's just like, once we have the wherewithal, it just really opens up so many possibilities, and both on a personal level and a professional level. So thank you, Dale, for letting me share this with everybody. Hopefully I get to work with you.
That's great. Any questions for Shannon? Anyone have a teenager? Teenager with an idea. Teenager that's looking to finance their college education without going into debt and being a slave for the rest of life. Anyone?
Brother Dale, I have a question.
Shoot.
What is about the amount of time to go through the modules? Which, by the way, thanks for making it time efficient. It sounds like it's 8 to 10 hours maximum training stuff to go through.
Yeah, there's a total. The primary ones for what you guys need with this particular initiative, it's less than 6 hours of videos.
Okay.
And if you listen to it, how Dale listens to things, where you speed it up, you could probably do it in 4.
Right, you can do the 1.25 or 1.5
yes,
speed.
Yes.
Yeah, I did a training from a guy who was raised like 250 million. So he was really good on his training of putting together your deck and order of events of following up with investors. But his system was weak on best places to look, sort of basically making your avatar of your ideal investors and where do those people hang out. So yeah, I definitely could use some next level wise counsel there, speaking to the master's mind that Dale was just talking about. So yeah, I'd like to get the course and go through it and go through that part of it like right away. I already have all my docs made.
The sequence there for anyone that's entertaining, whether that's Prado or not, what's different about this routine, this engagement with us, this is the first time we've included video, telling a story on camera, as it were. So again, very much like Shannon might be step one to engage, like all of us, if we're all advisors, with King's Council, it's like, what do I get then with King's Council? So anyone interested in that, what's next? If you've not yet seen our engagement and all of what's possible in that, that's a great place to start too. Think of it in this case, David, I know but for anyone else that may be listening, because we are streaming, think of it as speed dating. You're going to know pretty quickly whether or not it's a good fit. You're going to know pretty quickly what you need to actually get across the finish line. The real question is, are you doing the work to get across the finish line? Every week, you're going to have somebody not cracking the whip, but, helping you, encouraging you. You see, we got a lot of great looking cheerleaders here. I mean, come on, why not? Why wouldn't you want to keep pace with the rest of the clan? And Shannon, did you have a question? I
was just going to say the power of the video and why that is essential when you're pitching people, because it really, the people that don't have videos, it's so much harder to get that message across and be magnetic. And so the videos, I think it's night and day. And I know Jim Dygert's raised cat. There's a lot of people here that have done this before. The videos are what it's like giving them the key to the Mercedes. So, and these guys are working with somebody that has those key points that they're going to be looking for in your message to be able to clearly convey what you're up to and be magnetic.
I will add, there's a secret weapon on the line too. It didn't occur to me, but I don't know if, and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but did we ask if people actually have difficulty in writing? David's an expert copywriter online. You know, anybody that can't put two sentences together, there's help there too. So even if you're in the 5th grade and you're just starting your own YouTube channel, this could be for you. I'm just kidding. I met a young teenager yesterday, and unfortunately Dad said no. But anyhow, this is young and old. There's no excuse for not getting this done in less than 30 days. So with that coming up next month, it's by now everyone should know it's the 2nd Tuesday of every month. We've got our Power Partners. It comes at the latter end of the month. So those of you who are leaning in to learn what that's about, keep showing up. Yeah, there's more. There's a lot of great ways we can help each other. And as if you may have already learned, that sometimes partners get together and create their own projects when there was none before. So that's pretty neat too. So with that, Shannon, are we ready to kind of break out just yet? Or?
Yes, we are. So I am, this is the fun part. You get to meet some of these cool people that here, and I have to say, I get so excited by the brilliance that's here in the room. We have Larry, the cash flow whisperer. We have David, who, yes, he copyrights, but he does so much more. And this is an opportunity for you to ask for what it is that you're looking for. Maybe there's something that you would like support with. Maybe there's something that you're looking for next in your business. So when we get together in the breakout session, you want to say your name. Feel free to share what brought you here today, but also what are you looking for next and how can we help you? I forgot to check with Karen if you'll make sure the time.
I set it for 9.
9? Okay. Okay. And is there, perfect. Okay. So it'll be a couple minutes each. Hold on. Let me just do the math here. So
3 minutes. There's 3 rooms of 3 and then 1 room of, somebody left. So it's all 3.
3 rooms of 3. Okay, perfect. Okay, so you will have 2.5 minutes each. It's important to, if you can get the ask down quick, clear, and concise within a minute, then you have a little bit of extra time to ask, if somebody has a question or follow-up. But the biggest part is what happens after this session. This is really, as Dale says, like the speed dating. We invite you to have your, hopefully by now everybody has their Zoom elevator pitch where you can just cut and paste that in there. It's important, like if I have a contact for Larry, to at least drop the name. Hey, Larry, I want to make sure I introduce you to Cynthia, right? And then that way, when Larry follows up with me, then he's going to say, hey, you said Cynthia. And if it's a week or 2, ideally we want to do it right away, then at least there's that place of remembering. So please, this is a chance for you to ask for what you're looking for, share what you need next. Don't necessarily come with a laundry list, because after, like 2 or 3, we tend to check out, but everybody here is committed to collaboration, supporting each other. And if you are, if this is something that they ask for and you're not able to help, it's okay. Look, I'll look and see, I'll scout for you. I'll keep it in mind. You want to have your notepad, paper, or be able to connect with who's here. So with that, I'm going to give Karen a round of applause because she's learning how to do our breakout rooms. Oh my goodness. So Karen, if you want to launch the breakout rooms, then we will go into there now and stay there. If there's a challenge, you can raise your hand. We'll see you in a moment.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to assign Thomas somewhere and I don't know where it went. So we'll just go with it.
Well, you'll be able to see it once it's open and then you can move people around.
I did. And then it went blank. So I'm sorry. Okay.
It's okay. All right. It's all right. Let me hop on there and I'll see what I can.
Sorry. Why isn't it starting?
Sorry. They're going in. So we got breakout rooms. And okay, so we have you unassigned Thomas. Let me put Thomas in.
Oh, assigned to. There it went.
Okay, so I'm gonna put Thomas in 4.
Oh, okay.
Karen, where do you want to go?
I don't care. I was gonna sit empty.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put you in.
So those of us here aren't assigned.
And I'm gonna put you in 4. There we go.
Oh, I just said no. Why is Isaac not assigned? Did he not accept?
Here, let me do it. You go ahead and because I'm bouncing him around and we'll we may be doing it at the same time. So Isaac is in there with Dale. And if you want to get in there with Dale, because otherwise there's just two of them.
I got
If you
bumped out of
want.
room too.
You did?
You know what? Because I did it at the same time. I put him in 2 and you put him in 4 at the same time.
Okay, let's see here. Oh, we want him in 2. Here we go.
Thank you.
Now there's 2 Isaacs in with
I
Dale.
know. Well, because I figured whoever Isaac was had a guest under his came in there.
Oh,
So I put them
awesome.
together.
Okay, if you want to go in there, you can. Do you want me to put you in there?
I don't need to be in anywhere, I don't think.
Okay,
Do I?
I don't know. I think we're 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think we're good.
I would just let it go. So who's KCT admin? That's you. You're in there.
Let me
twice.
pause this just for a minute so it's not on the recording and
Oh,
let me
right.
stop.